Today we'll be going for animal testing. This is Group 5, Section 4, and the people in this are Emily, Melanie, Eduardo, Daniela, Maya, and Michelle. In the slides, we will be going over the history and background, the ethno aspects, the social importance, the current events, the knowledge of material, and a summary. So for the first slide, we will be doing the history. The history for animal testing goes all the way back to ancient Greece when Aristotle used animals to study anatomy. It then continued through the Roman Empire with Goliath that dissected animals to understand anatomy and physiology. He is pictured in the top right corner. The 19th century saw the rise of using animals for research, and nowadays they are used for vaccines and treatments. To show testing novel vaccine candidates in animal models is a critical step in development of modern vaccines. This explains that animal testing is important to medical needs and can help with the widespread of medicine. Also in the mid-20th century, they started using animal testing for food and cosmetics. The food and cosmetics started in 1938 after the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act got passed. Furthermore, the 1938 Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, known as the FDCA, is set in the United States law to authorize the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, to oversee and regulate the production, sale, and distribution of food, drugs, medical devices, and cosmetics. Overall, animal testing has been to understand humans more and to better us together. Also in the bottom right corner is Franklin D. Roosevelt signing this law. And then for the next slide, we will have Melanie going over the ethno aspects.
When arguing for animal testing, it is important to look at the ethical aspects to see how animal testing is beneficial to the human and how these animals are cared for while conducting these experiments. For human benefit, having animal testing plays a major role in helping researchers find answers to medical issues. According to our book, it is stated that the FDA regulations require that a new drug to be tested on animals before given to humans. Animals and humans have similar physiology, giving new drugs an organism appropriate for testing. With the use of animals to test new drugs, medications that are used to treat certain conditions have been able to advance. While looking at animal care, when scientists are looking to conduct their research, they must justify their scientific purpose for using an animal to collect data. According to the National Library of Medicine, there should be a reasonable expectation that the research will result in increasing scientific knowledge in different aspects of biomedicine and also will increase understanding of the species under study or provide results that could improve the quality of health or welfare of humans or other animals. When using animals in scientific procedures, the 3R principles must be considered at all times.
Thank you, Melanie. For the next slide, we will have Michelle going over the sociological importance of it all.
Political importance. Animal testing shows how humans define the moral status of animals. The way we use animals in experiments reveal what we think animals are worth and what rights we believe they should have. It raises questions about what is acceptable and what crosses the line. It shows how much power scientists and companies have in making decisions. They choose which experiments to run, which animals to use, and how the animals are being treated during these experiments. This reflects the authority they hold in society and how their choices affect both the people and animals. It affects how much people trust science and research. Animal testing also influences how much the public trusts science. If people think animals are being treated poorly, they may lose interest in the research. But if they believe experiments are being done responsibly and ethically, they are more likely to support scientific work and then accept the actual results. Animal testing leads to diverse opinions and leads to social movements like animal rights groups that push for change. Groups like animal rights organizations push for change, encourage alternatives, and then they try to raise awareness. These movements can shape laws and influence how society thinks about animals. Humans feel better about testing on animals than they do about testing on humans. This shows how society values human life and safety above animal life. It reflects our natural instinct to protect people first, even if it means using animals for research. This is because humans generally feel more comfortable testing on animals than on humans. It also helps scientists develop new medicines that can help save human lives. Animal testing also plays a role in developing new medicines that can save human lives. Many important treatments we use today were first studied in animals. These tests help scientists understand how a medicine works before it even touches a person. With animal testing, they can test treatments for diseases before trying them on humans. This step is important because it helps make sure that drugs are safe before they are tested on humans. It also helps ensure that drugs are safe for human use. Discovering side effects early protects public and prevents dangerous drugs from being released. The research on animals can also lead to better veterinary treatments for pets and wildlife. It helps veterinarians care for pets, farm animals, and wild.
Thank you, Michelle. And then we will have Eduardo going over the current events.
So, current events, it was my part, and my name is Eduardo Esparza Jr. Alright, so medical breakthroughs. Animal testing has played a very important role in the development of various treatments against diseases like cancer, diabetes, HIV, and among others. Examples include early COVID-19 vaccine studies using mice and primates to determine how the virus affects the body and how vaccines induce immunity. Safety, drug, and efficiency. Many regulatory agents, such as the FDA in the United States, require that drugs undergo animal preclinical trials to ensure safety for use on humans. This ensures that drugs will not have any debilitating adverse effects once they reach human testing. Scientific complexity. Some researchers argue that because one of the complexity of certain biological systems is not possible to replicate them completely using cell cultures or computer models, and animals are thus a better method for studying whole body effects. So they basically want to use animals as more. They're saying it's a better testing for human safety, even though they could use, like they said, cell cultures and computer models, which they could create, but they don't want to do. But other than that, there's a global push toward cruelty-free science, with both consumer demand and regulatory pressure driving companies to adopt alternatives. Research institutions are increasingly combining animal studies with human-relevant models to reduce the number of animals used. So that part is a good thing. Public awareness campaigns and documentaries have also sparked debates about whether the scientific benefits justify the ethical costs.
Thank you, Eduardo. Next, we will have Daniela going over her slide.
For my section of the assignment was the knowledge of the material for and against. I do want to say before I start that for the for and against, the vocabulary that is used is completely different. While I was researching, they were using different vocabulary that would, benefit their side or their view. So that's kind of what I did for my two slides. Knowledge of materials. In animal testing is used for medical treatments and medications that humans will be or may be using in the future. With this type of testing on animals, scientists are able to determine the toxicity of the medication or of the treatment, and scientists are also able to determine what is the best dosage for humans to consume and what is best or what is safe, depending on their medical health, any disabilities that they may have that may incorporate in this treatment or in this medication. Scientists use animals for these types of tests because they are the most biologically close to humans. Some of these animals are mice and rats. There are pictures in which they compare a human's biological body to a mice or a rat's body, and it's fairly the same. Lungs, heart, intestines, and many other parts are the same, which is why they use mice and rats mostly throughout when it comes to animal testing. There has been improvement in some of the diseases and some of the deadly diseases and just health problems in general, such as breast cancer, leukemia, brain injuries as well, and vaccines. A vaccine example is COVID-19. We were going through this pandemic that we're doing animal testing so we can have vaccines to prevent us and to help us contain this pandemic that we were going through. Animal testing is regulated with laws that have been passed by local and state government, such as the Animal Welfare Act, the AWA. This has started since 1966. They not only have that act, but they also have regulations on animals, on the way that laboratories have their environment. Laboratories do need to have the minimum housing standards for animal testing, which is having clean water, clean food, enough space for them to move around. They also need to have appropriate temperatures, not too hot, not too cold, where it can affect their health and their well-being, apart from the testing that they go through.
Thank you, Daniela. Next, we will have Maya going over the summary of the 4 animal testing.
Based off of what we have presented in the slides, those who agree with animal testing agree because of multiple reasons. Firstly, it is an activity that has gone on for thousands of years, originally beginning as a way to study anatomy and physiology, and it eventually advanced to test vaccines and treatments. People argue that this has been going on for such a long time and has had great results that why would we change it at all and risk getting less and slower results? Along with that, the FDA uses the FDCA as a way to regulate the sale, production, and distribution of food, drugs, medical devices, and cosmetics using animal testing as a base test. Without animal testing, the FDA would have no way to regulate the safeness of products that are being used and or consumed by humans. Animal testing benefits humans in the way that it allows us to find answers to previously unsolved medical issues. We are able to test on animals, especially mice, as a way to see if certain treatments are able to work on getting rid of a virus or a disease. Animal testing can help save human lives and even helps lead to better veterinary treatments for not only wildlife, but also our own pets, seeing as we can use doses as a way to practice what we're using on our pets. We have gained medical advancements, including treatments against cancer, diabetes, and HIV using animal testing. Without animal testing, we would have no way how to treat these diseases that are potentially and most definitely life-threatening. Scientists have also been able to gain knowledge on the toxicity of medications and proper doses to use on animals and humans. Not having animals to test on would significantly slow and eventually stop medical advancements, seeing as we would now need to find new ways to test and ensure things are good for human consumption and use. There are also laws passed like the AWA that ensure animals have clean water and food, space, and proper living temperatures, just like any animals should. So people argue that these animals are getting treated correctly and they're not being abused, even though they're being used for testing. These are our sources, and that is the end of our presentation. Thank you.